All right, so my suicide is inevitable. What I want to do is make sure that these predators aren't able to do it to anyone else. I want to make sure that these officers, these magistrates, these courts aren't able to do the things that they did to anyone else. There's a lot of evidence. Sorry, my nose is kind of clogged. I tried blowing it, whatever's up there, it won't blow out, so bear with me. I'm sorry, it's gross. I do that anyway. That's one of my tics from having Tourette syndrome, and I've been trying to do something about it for most of my life. Um, there's a lot of evidence that isn't on YouTube. Um, that computer that doesn't like to stay on, it's full of evidence that I haven't put on YouTube just because I can't get it to stay on. It's also got a lot of evidence that will not be put on YouTube. It needs to be shown in court. I need to be able to organize everything, and it's going to take a long time to do that. I need a safe environment to do that in. I needed a safe environment for that evidence that I repeatedly tried to force into the hands of law enforcement. Much of that evidence has been lost or stolen. I tried repeatedly to force law enforcement to take a look at it. I literally broke the law to try to force law enforcement to take a look at it. Nobody should have to do that. Meanwhile, they denied me the rights that, as a disabled person, should have been afforded me from the very fucking beginning. They used my disabilities to prevent me from being able to speak on my own behalf, but they also denied me my rights to have an advocate. They expected me to do things that I was incapable of doing. All of the money that I spent on traveling, that money could have been utilized to get the resources that I needed, like a printer, ink, and paper, so that I could make photocopies, so that I would have duplicates. I didn't have a safe place for any of it. None of these people who said that I could have my stuff there, all of them fucking took advantage of that. Amy Spencer, my stuff that was over there, I can't recover it. The stuff down at Tabby and Graham's, I can't recover it. The stuff at Lana and Amanda's, like that computer that won't hardly turn on. That's something that myself and Brenda Dickinson, we actually called Lana and Amanda to try to get that back, and they said they would send it. They just didn't. So I had to make a special trip through Montana. That's really important to note. I had to make a special trip to Montana to pick up the evidence that I was going to bring with me. I knew that something was up with Lana and Amanda before I left there. The thing is, there's a lot of stuff that I can't prove now because those phones were stolen. I kept a hold of those phones and tried repeatedly to get law enforcement to take a look, to get a lawyer to take a look. But because I am constantly overwhelmed and it shuts me down, I need help, not empty promises and maybes. When the law allows the most vulnerable people in America to be taken advantage of, those laws need to change. I mean, hell, the officers kept on turning off their body cameras so much through all of this that threatening the President of the United States, I had hoped that by doing that, that the FBI would take a look at it, that the Secret Service would look at that evidence, and they didn't. They were only interested in what they could utilize to try to discredit me and justify the fact that they didn't do their goddamn jobs. Oh, we don't have to take him seriously. He's mentally ill. We don't have to take the report about the abuse that he's enduring because he's mentally ill. Meanwhile, it's illegal for them not to. It's against the law for them not to. But because nobody went in with me, they didn't keep their word. They didn't keep their oath. Neither did the doctors. And most of the hospitals that I went to, the doctors weren't involved. It was people who were basically the equivalent of babysitters. I mean, some of the stuff from the Clearview thing, and I'm going to post that up here in case any of y'all actually care to take a look. Not that you will. I know it's mostly people who hate me who look at this. People who actually care, they're just going to give me pretty words. They're not going to do any investigating. They're not going to look at any of this stuff. But the people who hate me, they're looking for every little bit that they can twist and contort to make what they've done okay. Oh, well, look, he said this 6 months after I threatened his life, so magically it's okay that I did that. Blah, blah, fucking blah. Here it is, Clearview Behavioral Health. Dying for help, a mental health crisis in Clearview. Copy link address. The thing that made me suicidal was not being able to see my friends and loved ones without being abused. Now, many of my friends and loved ones hate me because I have meltdowns, and that is specifically what they hate me for. Meltdowns. The way that I act when I have been abused severely and have no help. The help that I am supposed to be afforded according to the law, I have been denied because of my intelligence. Also, I have been denied because of my disabilities. I have been denied the right to have an advocate present. I've been denied the help to get those things. I've been denied the right to speak on my own behalf. I've been denied the right to cross-examine my accusers. I've been denied the right to even show up in court. I've been denied the right to defend myself anywhere except right here on YouTube. And even on YouTube and Facebook, I've been denied the right. Yes, I am doing everything in my power to try to show the truth so this doesn't happen to others. But the fact is, those people who are mad at me because I had to show the truth in order to defend myself, those people who don't love me anymore because I had to show the truth, that's going to hurt me for the rest of my life. No matter what, thinking of Miss Peaches is always going to make me suicidal. No matter what, thinking about my older brother is always going to make me suicidal. No matter what, thinking about Alicia Bollinger is always going to make me suicidal. Thinking about Maddie Boa is always going to make me suicidal. Thinking about Teresa Orn will always make me suicidal. Thinking about my dad will always make me suicidal. Thinking about Pierre will always make me suicidal. Thinking about JoJo will always make me suicidal. Thinking about these people who threw me away will always make me feel suicidal. Thinking about Rand Ingersoll will always make me suicidal. Thinking about Natalie's stepmothers will always make me suicidal. Thinking about the abuse that I endured in Colorado and nationwide for that matter will always make me suicidal. The thought of going back to those places will always make me feel suicidal. The thought of the things that I had to do to protect myself and these people will always make me suicidal. Thinking about Miss Peaches, that's the most terrible part, is that I love these people. I absolutely love them. But the things that I had to do and the things that I had to show because these people were telling me that they were afraid of the police, afraid of the Bollingers, afraid of the public. These people, most of them didn't come forward because they were scared shitless of you and your vigil, and they were afraid for their families. It's regrettable that I had to show the truth in the hope that I could get the help that I needed, in the hope that somebody wasn't too afraid to come forward in public, in the hope that somebody would be able to help me get the resources that I needed to be able to defend myself. Somebody would understand well enough to help me with that so that I didn't have to come forward about Mandy Hughes in public and Miss Peaches and Candace Bondurant. Most of these people were victimized for sticking up for me. Candace Bondurant is the worst friend I ever had, but I understand why she did what she did. She's still the worst friend I ever had. All of the help that I needed when it actually could have made a difference, I was cut off from because Candace Bondurant is a fucking cunt. And then people want to go, well, why'd you throw her under the bus? Bitch, she threw me under the bus, not the other way around. All I was doing was showing the truth. You want to call that throwing somebody under the bus? Fuck you. The guy that I'm with tonight, I was telling him about how I need help with this. He said, well, what do you need help with? I said, well, things that you already said that you couldn't help with. He said, well, yeah, I'm not able to testify in court. He has meltdowns about court too, so it's understandable. I said, well, the other thing is like I need people to help me with the computer stuff because I don't know how to do it. And he said, oh well, I tried to take care of all that with unemployment, and I got overwhelmed and just quit. I'm like, yeah, I already know that. I'm already aware of that. Spending all of that money to travel to all these different places prevented me from having the resources I needed to defend myself. Prevented me from having the resources to even take care of myself. But the least I can do before I leave this earth is try my damnedest to make. I would have to take several months just to save up enough to get the resources that I need to be able to fight this shit in court. Meanwhile, I have a court date coming up on April 16th. Also, it could take 2 months to a year for a spot to open up for me to get back into low income housing. If Ken and Leah hadn't stolen my money in 2017, I could have gone back to low income here. I would have had the money to go to low income here. My settlement money for disability, I would have been able to use that to get the resources that I needed, to get the printer that I needed, to get the paper that I needed, to get the ink that I needed, to be able to afford the retainer to get a lawyer that I needed. But instead, all of that money got wasted moving from place to place to place to place to place. Without my loved ones, I don't have a reason to live. Without Peaches, without Pierre, Without these people who fucked me over severely because they didn't have time to understand. I mean, it's hit and miss. I want you to think about it like this. I want you to think about it as an answering machine. All you need to be able to do is talk to this person, and you have a week to get it done, right? But with their schedule, whenever you call, they're too busy to answer their phone, so you leave a message on their answering machine. And then when you're out of phone service, then they call you up, but you're finally able to get enough money to get the phone service on. Of course, you've already missed their telephone call, so you call them back. And of course, they're at work or they're at a movie with their kids or they're at the park or the zoo or wherever it is that they're at. And, it could be something that's entertainment to them, but you really need to make this phone call. You really need to talk to them, but you can't. And they promise to help you, but you're just playing phone tag. And then at the end of the week, when it's too late, they finally call you up. They finally make the time to call you up, and it's already too late. And when you say it's too late, it's too late. You didn't call in an allotted amount of time that allowed me to do this. And then they get angry with you because you're frustrated. I don't want to have meltdowns. I have meltdowns from abuse. I have meltdowns because I knew what was going on and nobody else took the time to actually help me how I needed. And I can't change that about me. I can't change being overwhelmed or how I react to being overwhelmed. This overwhelmed is it shuts me down and there's not a goddamn thing I can do about it. Medications have never done a goddamn thing about it. I want my life to end no matter what. Having these people that I love so much throw me away like I'm trash, saying things to me that are extremely hurtful. And at this point, they don't even understand how hurtful it is because they didn't pay any attention. Like when people invite me to go see them in Colorado, I can't see those people in Colorado because other people didn't come forward. Other people didn't keep their word. Other people who were involved but didn't speak up because they didn't. I can't see any of these other people. I shouldn't have had to depend on heroin addicts like Christine Buhit. Please kill me. And please help me take these bastards down.